People say the Trinity isn't in the Bible. Watch this.
My name's Micah.
Micah, go ahead. You're a
Here's
prophet.
a question for you, Frank. So if you know the Bible well, you know that the Trinity can be displayed in the Old Testament. Here's my question. You know, the Old Testament Jews, what did they think about the Trinity?
We don't know what they thought about the Trinity because they don't tell us. But there are places where you see two Yahwehs at once, like Judges 6. There are two Yahwehs going on. You have the angel of the Lord and you have Yahweh talking at the same time. You have Yahweh appearing to Joshua, and I think it's Joshua chapter 5, as they're about to take over Jericho. There are a couple other places, too, where you seem to have two Yahwehs going on. And, of course, some Christians will say that in the very first chapter of Genesis, we will make men in our image. Is that a reference to the Trinity? Some say yes, others say no. It's a reference to the divine council. It's a whole other question. But there are elements of the Old Testament that point toward the Trinity. And so you can go back and look at it. It's much clearer when you get to the New. And I think the New Testament, in many respects, is the box top to the jigsaw puzzle of the Old Testament. In other words, once you get the box top to a jigsaw puzzle, you can see how all the pieces of the Old Testament fit together. Without the box top, you don't know that. In fact, Paul even says this when it comes to prophecy. In 1 Corinthians chapter 2, he said, these things were hidden about the prophecies of Jesus, the Messiah, because if the dark forces of this world had known, they never would have killed the Lord of glory. They knew Jesus was the Messiah, but they didn't know what the plan was. And so they thought by killing Jesus, they were snuffing him out and defeating the Messiah. In reality, by killing him, they actually accomplished what the Messiah came to do. So when you look back at the Old Testament, after the events of the New Testament, you go, oh, now I see how Isaiah 53, Isaiah 9, Isaiah 7, Micah 5:2, how Malachi 3 and Daniel 9, how all of these prophecies fit together now. I couldn't see it moving forward, but I can see it looking backward. And that was by design. So the evil forces wouldn't know what the real plan was. Does that make sense?
Thank you, Frank.
All right. Thanks, Mike.